Our journey with Care for Pastors began about a year and a half ago. I think really in response to some feedback and support that I had received from a friend of mine who's also a pastor, and got to just hear from him about what Care for Pastors was doing for him personally, and also his family, his marriage, and ultimately their church. And really at the time, Marli and I were going along, living life, doing ministry, and really at the time hit a bump in the road for us when my father passed away very unexpectedly. And coming out of that time was really a tough season because of the circumstances surrounding his death. And I think those were some pretty rough months for us, not only on the home front, but also in ministry. And it was in the wake of that I initially reached out to Care for Pastors, and thankfully was welcomed into their family with open arms. And that led into the two of us being able to sit down with Ron on a regular basis and really begin to explore that conversation, but to see the world open up a lot of new opportunities for conversation around life and marriage and ministry for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Care for Pastors, we started the journey dealing with the grief process of losing Dwayne's dad, but in the time that we spent with Ron, I just found that to be a special time that we really looked forward to. Those follow-up visits just gave us a chance to just put everything else aside, all the worries about ministry and everybody else, and to just really focus in on our needs and on our marriage and on our family. And having that time, I craved that. I looked forward to that. And Ron was such a great source of accountability for us to follow through with the goals we were setting in our communication, in our marriage, and our goals for the future. And it just really helped us to actually work through some pretty radical changes in our own families' lives, just even a move to a new home and different things, just reprioritizing some things, and ultimately learning how to keep our priorities in check, just always keeping God and our family first before everything else.
Yeah.
So
I think for me personally, going into this time, I don't know that I was anticipating all the ways that our time with Ron would begin to dig into other parts of our lives. There was a lighthearted statement that I made one time about, be careful with what you go in there to talk about, because Ron will be digging around your budget and your calendar and your ministry and all kind of stuff along the way. And there's a gift that he has given by God to be able to very lovingly poke around your heart, poke around your mind, and really begin to dig down in how you are doing on a very spiritual level. So that question, how's your soul, continues to come back.
That one will get us every time.
And just to see how that begins to open up doors, not only within the home and within the marriage, but also within our ministry. One of the greatest gifts I think that Ron has given us was the opportunity to kind of walk alongside a sabbatical that I received last year in conjunction with our tenure here at Center Point. And Ron was just a great source of wisdom and feedback. Our congregation got to hear from him and been able to come alongside Care for Pastors along the way. Mm-hmm. And we really could not be more thankful for their ministry to us as a couple, but also to our family and to our larger church community. We don't take that for granted in any way. Are very thankful for their ministry among us.
Yeah, it's really encouraged us to be able to not just focus on our own prioritization of what matters most, but also to make sure to be a great source of accountability to our staff and all of the people that we minister to on a weekly basis. It's given us tools to better help them to make sure that they're not going down a path that would lead to burnout or relational brokenness in their own life, but to really just try to keep their marriages and their families strong, and knowing that that they come first ultimately. So
yeah. And I think that's been a real gift for us growing out of our time at Care for Pastors, the question could be asked, would we recommend Care for Pastors? And I think absolutely 100%. Not only would we recommend it, we have implored people to visit Care for Pastors and really to seek out the ministry that the Lord is making available through them. So thank you for all of the support that you give for this ministry, for the support that Ron and Rodette and their staff, volunteers feel. We are very much experiencing the fruit of that ministry in our lives and our church, and we could not be more grateful. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And God bless.